Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Leadership Satsang. I'm your leadership coach, Yukti Kapoor Mehandiratta, warmly welcoming you for yet another interesting and insightful discussion about people. After all, leadership is all about people. But what we will talk about today is how to identify the right people to be surrounded by, because that makes a lot of difference, or if I may say, all the difference. Let's talk a little more about it once we bring ourselves into this moment first. And we do that by chanting Om together. So, may I request you to please forget whatever else has happened before this session and whatever might happen after we are done learning from this session. Let's just be here completely, because the only way to learn how to be is to be. There's no other way. One moment at a time. One moment at a time. And if you're able to increase these moments in a day, it just becomes that much easier to be. But we're always just too busy doing stuff that being, it has become a lot more difficult than doing. So let's make it easier by bringing this into our practice. I've always said Om is a universal chant and it should be practiced for maybe about 10 minutes in a day if possible. For now, in the interest of time, we will chant Om 5 times. But if you can, in your own environment, please chant it out loud, because the intent is to create the vibrations and feel it within your body. So the way to do it is to inhale, and as we exhale, we will chant Om together till you empty your lungs, and then take another beautiful deep breath in, and then as you exhale, you will chant the next Om. We will do it 5 times. I will keep the count for you. So may I request you all to please sit comfortably wherever you are. Make sure that your feet are on the ground. If possible, touch the ground. Take a nice deep breath in. If you're wearing glasses, you can keep them aside. There's nothing to see, right? So you just have to close our eyes and bring the attention to the center of your forehead or to the tip of your nostril and feel the air that you're breathing in and breathing out. Let thoughts come and go. That's all right. Yeah. What we don't want to do is to cling on to these thoughts and feel those emotions that come with it. Right. So let's refrain from that just for a couple of minutes. Close your eyes, please. Relax your shoulders and straighten up your spine. Make sure your spine is straight. Shoulders are relaxed. And take a nice deep breath in and breathe out a few times before we start the chant together. Breathe in. And out. And we prepare ourselves for the chant now. Let's please breathe in. Om. Shanti. 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 And whenever you're ready, please rub your palms together till you can feel some warmth between your hands, and only then place them gently on your eyes and face, ears, and your entire body, and slowly come back. And as you come back, you know what I want to know? I want to know if you're here 100%. So please let me know. Are you here 100%? Entire body. Let's have 100% in the chat if you're here with me. Very, very good evening, Ritesh. So good to have you here. Thank you for joining. Dinesh, Miland. Thank you. Thank you, Devas, for being here. Such an honor that you've joined us today. Thank you for being here. Rishikesh, so good to have you here. Indiran, thank you for joining in. Fantastic. So are we here 100%? Let's have 100% in the chat, please. Are we here 100%? Give me 100% because nothing less than 100% would do, right? If you're not here 100%, that means we're not here. As simple as that. So wherever your mind takes you is basically where you are. Your physical body has very limited contribution to make to any environment that you are a part of. So let's make sure that whatever we do 100%, or we don't do it at all. Right? And that's a decision that we make. And then we honor that decision because there is the rationale and logic behind choosing to be where we want to be, but provided that we are there 100%. Yeah, so Santa Meena is here 100%, Dinesh is here 100%, Miland, Indiran, thank you so much for your response. Fantastic. All right, so let's talk about people and the ability to understand whether we are surrounded by the right kind of people or not. Now, why did I think of this topic? Is because I believe that no matter how we talk about people, especially in the space of leadership, we often get carried away with processes and profits and products and keep people as one of the many resources available to us. Most of the times in organizations, we hand these people over to a department called as human resources, HR department. And we tell HR department to deal with this resource called people. If there is any people issue, I'm not responsible. Please talk to my HR head or talk to this HR manager of this vertical. They are supposed to deal with all sorts of people issues. I want to share with you something very interesting that I have read recently. And, there is a little bit of a time lag between what I read and what I consume because I process it. And then if it fits into the different pieces of knowledge that I have within me, only then do I think it's important and worthy enough to be shared with you all. So I have gone through that process and consumed this really well, which is a very interesting contrast between two different philosophies. One is called as Adlerian philosophy, who was a philosopher, just as how Freud was a philosopher. And there's a philosophy that he has advocated at all times. And if you look at Freud's philosophy, he talks a lot about cause and effect. Right? He says that whatever is happening today is because of what we have done yesterday. There is a cause and there is an effect that leads, that kind of creates the consequences. And it stems from what causes that effect. But Adler, who is another philosopher, has totally challenged that to say that what truly matters is what's happening in this moment. And that doesn't necessarily have so much to do with what has happened already. Now, what is this to do with people? It's about confirming and validating the fact that it's not only this moment which is as unique as the next one will be. What's also true is that any situation that you are facing in this moment today, whether it is personal or professional situation, any challenge that we are all facing, it eventually all boils down to interpersonal skills. And then there is this entire debate around it, okay, whether interpersonal skills is always a need for us to grow, irrespective of the kind of challenge we are facing. And then there are multiple challenges that one can go through and go, into detail and kind of run it through as a case study, etc. And all that done eventually leads to a simple conclusion that whether it is an issue related to process or issue related to growth or issue related to profitability or issue related to, of course, important relationships, it all boils down to our ability to connect with other people, which we also call as interpersonal skills. It's a very bold statement to make when we say that all issues in all problems and situations stem from interpersonal skills. All issues are interpersonal issues. Think about it. It's a very broad statement that covers all sorts of issues. And you might have a few questions in your mind, like I did. And then I spent the time I needed to understand and question and challenge and then validate it with my own experiences to completely accept how much sense it makes as I look at not only challenges I have faced, but those that my clients face as I coach them. And it all, at some point or another, boils down to interpersonal issues, which means that if there is one skill we have to master, is to understand other people and find ways to genuinely, authentically connect with them. Now, there is another challenge, that we need to look at. Once we accept this, the fact that all problems are interpersonal issues, we then look at, okay, now what are the people, what kind of people who surround us? And there are so many in an organization. There are organizations that have like 50,000 people or more. And of all these 50,000, you're probably not interacting with all of them, but there's a large number of people who impact what you do. And this pool can include people you call as your friends, your family, your neighbors, people you work with, people you have worked with in the past, people you know of, etc., etc. So that's like a big pool. Now, with this said, how do I learn to deal with so many different kinds of people? Because there are all sorts of people. It takes all to make the world. Right? So how do I equip myself to deal with all sorts of people? And more importantly, is it really important for me to deal with all sorts of people? Or can I have a little bit of flexibility here? Can I make some choices in terms of the kind of people I want to be with? And that's when another interesting philosophy comes in. Maybe first heard by, through Jim Rohn. I don't know if he's the one who originally came up with it, but it definitely makes a lot of sense to me when I hear that we are the average of 5 people we spend most of our time with. Have you heard this? Give me, yes, I have in the chat, please. Let me know in the comments if you've heard this statement. I've heard it a million times. I've shared it a million times with many people as an important reminder that we are the average of 5 people we spend most of our time with. Which means that people who surround us have a direct impact on us. And so we might not really worry about all the people we come in touch with, we speak on day-to-day basis with, we probably know of. We definitely need to look at the smaller pool, these 5 to 6, maybe 10 people we spend a lot of time with. This includes a few people we live with. It includes a few people we work closely with. It also includes a few people we call as our close friends. Now here, we can be a little more mindful of the kind of people we choose to be with, we choose to spend more time with. Now, some interactions need to happen with people because of work. There are work-related conversations that we have to indulge in. And we don't have a choice. You can't choose your boss, you can't choose your team, all of that is understood, right? So you've got to deal with these people. But then there are people we consciously spend time with. There are people we consciously partner with, we consciously collaborate with, we sign contracts with these people, we make them co-founders, right? We visit them whenever we get some time to breathe. We want to take that time out and spend it with these people. Who are these people? And are we making a conscious choice to surround ourselves with the right kind of people, given that these conversations are not limited to a transaction? These conversations are beyond the have to conversations. I hope you're getting what I'm saying here. One category of people are people we have to talk to because we don't have a choice. We all need to work together. Got it, right? That's part of being a team. I don't choose the team. I still need to know how to deal with the team. Different skill set is required here. That's not what we're talking about today. Today, I want to bring your attention to the second set, right? Another situation where we are not limiting ourselves to the conversations we have to have. We are choosing to spend time with these people. We are choosing to launch a business idea with these people. Are they the right people to be surrounded by? That is a question that we would like to explore today. Let us see what comes of this exploration. I don't know if you've read any of Jim Collins' books. If you haven't, you must, because it's a great read, very, very insightful and informative in the space of leadership. And he says something which I challenged the first time I heard it. As I shared with you, I don't consume information very quickly. I need to process and see how it makes sense to me. So the first time I heard Jim Robbins say, in fact, I read one of his books, and he said, right people are more important than anything else. Now, that didn't settle well with me. I thought, you know what? Isn't the idea, that comes first? Like, we need to think of what I want to do, and then I will think of who I want to do it with. As an entrepreneur, that's the thought I had in mind, that I will first think, okay, this is the idea that I want to develop. And now, basis this idea, who are the kind of people who will bring in relevant contribution, experience, etc. And then I will start collaborating with these people, partner with these people, get them onto the bus. How many of you agree with that thought process? Just give me agree in the comments that you can't just go out and reach out to people you consider as the right people. You have to probably look at the idea first, and maybe the idea can help us to identify the right people. Right? This is what I want to do, and now I need to see who are the right people to do this with. That's the thought I had in mind until I went a level deeper as I was questioning myself and being a devil's advocate to a well-established concept that Jim Collins has shared, and the half of the world swears by it. The rest half has yet to discover it. Once they do, they might also follow the lead. And so did I, because I realized that it's not just about one product that becomes successful or one idea that becomes successful when the right kind of people come together. When this right kind of people, when they come together, any sort of idea has the merit to succeed, has the ability to become a super hit idea. It's not the idea that has the power, but people who execute that idea. These people who are great when they work with each other. They complement each other. They collaborate very well with each other. They create this super powerful pool of talent. And with this pool, they're able to bring to life any idea which might be very ordinary, and that can turn out to be absolutely extraordinary. And then there are stories after stories to validate this thought. And so I find myself completely aligned to what Jim Collins said years back, that it's getting the right people first, and then the right idea or the right product or the right service or anything else. And that's how important it is for us to understand who are these right people for us. Given that everybody has some strengths and weaknesses, like nobody has all the skills in them. We all have our unique strengths, and we all have our own limitations or imperfections. So, what makes this one person a right person for me might not be the same for you. Are you with me? Let's have with you in the chat, please. If you're with me and you are aligned to what I'm sharing here, that what I might consider as the right person, might not turn out to be the right person for you. And there is nothing wrong about the person. There's nothing wrong about the person. It's just about that person not being right for me. And that brings me to another very important question. How do I identify who is right for me? And of course, I'm not talking about marriage here, by the way. So I'm not going to give you any tips about finding your spouse, okay? Because that's not my domain and I don't want to claim that either. Now, that you figure out yourself if you haven't yet, because I don't think there is a shortcut to it. We probably need to jump into it to see if we can sail through, okay? That's been the story of everybody's life, including mine. So that's an adventure and a discussion for another day. But what I mean by right people here is to understand people who can help me succeed faster. People who can add more power to my execution, to my delivery, to my ideas, who can help me grow exponentially as they grow with me. Right? So, how can we identify people who can come together and create this pool of skills and talent where we all complement each other in a way? As much as there is a very strong foundation of love, respect, and trust. How to create this? Because this is something that you can never figure out in an interview or through a resume, not even through references. Now, most of us do the hiring, like in all our organizations, we hire people basis reference, right? So somebody tells me, Ritesh says, you know what, this guy Kunal is a great guy. You should consider him for your, this position that's open for you. And I would want to have that conversation with Kunal for sure. Of course, I'll have my own criteria to identify whether the person is a good fit for my company or not. But given that it's a referral from someone I trust, I would definitely consider. That's how most of us do hiring, especially for senior positions. But when we are identifying right people who should be part of a learning community, a community that I want to sign up for, the kind of people I want to spend a lot of time with, the kind of people I want to bring ideas to life with, there are three important checks that I can have to make sure that I create that pool of right people. Or to check if I am actually surrounded by right people as I speak. Would you like to know what those three checks are? If yes, then you know what I want? I want you to say BIO, bring it on. So let's have a BIO in the chat, please. So I know that you want me to bring it on, and if you do, I definitely will. I will share with you three ways to check if you are surrounded by the right people or not. And this goes beyond any one specific idea or task or objective or goal. You can achieve, you can, think of conquering the world, and you can do that with these people if you've run these three checks to ensure that these are your people, these are the right people for you. Let's look at this very closely. And it's something that you might not find in any book because I haven't read anywhere. It's a crux of not only my very keen and close observation, it's also a function of my own personal experiences and that of a lot of other people I have coached, and trained in all these years. So as I see people grow in their career, I see that it is a function of the kind of people they have surrounded themselves with. The first check to have to ensure that you are also surrounded with the right kind of people who are right for you is a value check. Value check means to be able to align your values with that of other people. I'm going to spend a little time on this because it's very, very important. And when I work closely with organizations, we work a lot on value alignment. All this vision, mission sounds very fancy, very interesting, but it has no value if we have not aligned the values, the value system in the organization first. Because organization is a mix of so many people, and no value is a negative value. Are you with me? No value is a negative value. But when it comes to values, there is always a possibility of value conflict. What is value conflict? Value conflict is when something, say honesty is your value, okay? And maybe hard work is my value. Hypothetical, okay? So I'm saying hard work is really important, and you're saying honesty is very important. Both are great things. Do you agree? Or another conflict can be employee first is my value. Customer first is your value. Both are great, right? Customers are also important, employees are also important. But there could be situations where they conflict with each other. There could be situations where you need to see whether you're going to be by your employee side or are you going to be by your customer side. What will be the basis of our decision making? The basis would be the value of the organization, which is not limited to individual value. Having said that, which is pretty much from an organization's perspective, let's come to individual perspective. I have a set of values. You have your set of values. When we work together and our values are not aligned with each other, we will find it very difficult to respect each other and each other's decisions. So we've got to work on these values. For example, you might say that no matter how long it takes, we are going to go the legal way. We are not going to cut corners. We are not going to take any shortcuts. And I might be this very practical person who says, you know what, the world operates like that. We've got to do what we've got to do. Excellence is my value. Profit is my value. Creation is my value. We need to keep creating. We need to keep generating profits, whatever it takes. Are you getting the drift now? So I'm also working towards the growth of the company as much as you are. But your actions will be guided by your values, and my actions will be driven by my values. So when we bring a group of people together who have a fundamental conflict at a value level, it becomes counterproductive. This team of very high talent resources, right? Handpicked best talent from the market that you have picked and put together will kill each other and be detrimental to the organization's growth and the growth of your idea if it's your own enterprise we're talking about, if there is no alignment at a value level. So we've got to have this value check around us, both in our personal circles as well as professional circles. And if you want to consciously spend time with a set of people, make sure these are people who share your values. I will say it again, no values are bad, no values are wrong. Values are never negative, they're almost always positive. It's not about negative or positive. It's about aligning what's important for you, what you value, and what other people value. Right, so are you taking away something? Is this opening up something for you? Are you finding this useful? Let's have some comments in the chat, please, if this is resonating with you, because that's a very important first check to have when you are identifying the right people to surround yourself with. Always check on what are their values and are they aligned to yours. The second check is virtue check. What are their virtues? Virtues are positive qualities of people, right? So somebody can virtue excellence, somebody's virtue can be patience, somebody's virtue can be honesty, right? Or detailing, or listening. All these are great things. And these are virtues that people hold as individuals. What helps us to grow is to make sure that we spend time with people who are what we want to become, who we want to become. People who are smarter than us, people who are more intelligent than us, people who are as ambitious as us, maybe are already at a point where I want to be. Maybe this person is already someone I want to become like, right? I'm already inspired by certain qualities that these people have, other kind of people I should surround myself with. If you are the smartest in the group that you're a part of, you have no scope for improvement. You don't have much scope for learning either. So there is no merit in being the smartest. In fact, if you look at sports people, the kind of rehearsals, when they do their net practice, they want to practice with people who are better than them. Because it's an established fact that it's much, much better to lose to a good team than to win against a weak team. Because when you win against a weak team, you don't come back with much learning. And when you lose to a good team, you come back knowing how are you going to pull your game up? How are you going to create another benchmark for yourself? And that makes so much more sense than to just come back with medals, ensuring that you find the weakest team possible to beat and then, come back adding that as another glory, another feather in your cap. It's a very small cap to wear if that's the attitude and that's the approach we're living with. Right? So we've always got to seek out for people better than us. Now you can define what better means. It means different things to different people. It means different things in different contexts. But reach out to these people who have higher virtues, people who are able to live by those virtues much better than you can, even though you aspire to have them. And that's a very important second check. Are we ready for the third one? I'm just checking how many of you are 100% here still, and we're at the fag end of the session. So let me see if you're here right now and you're ready for the third one. Give me ready in the chat, please. Let's have ready in the chat. Yeah, Colonel Ripu, are you ready? Milind, you're ready? Piyush, are you ready? Give me ready in the chat. And I will know that you are absolutely glued on and you're waiting to know what is the third way to check whether we are surrounded by the right people or not. Superb. Thank you for your response. Let's look at the third important check. We said the first check is checking your values. The second is to check the virtue. And the third is a vibe check. We get this certain vibe when we meet people, isn't it? Sometimes you don't know this person, but you just get this negative vibe. Does that happen to you? Give me yes in the comments if it has happened to you, that you're meeting this person, you don't know enough, but you just get this little negative vibe. And sometimes people actually work hard to give you that vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like they will only gossip about other people. They will only talk negative about you. They will keep showing you the mirror, even though you see it in your own time. You get up in the morning, you see the mirror literally, as well as psychologically, spiritually. You know what I mean? You are willing to look within yourself, but you also have to move ahead and do what you need to do. But then there are these few people who will not go ahead in their journey and will also make sure that you don't go ahead either. Their continuous, constant criticism will make you feel forever doubtful about your own abilities. Sometimes these people are unfortunately the ones we live with. And we can't really show them our back and say, okay, you know what, go take a walk. It's not always possible. And it's also the case with teams that we are a part of. Like I said, you don't choose your teams, you don't choose your line manager. And sometimes we get stuck with these people who have just sworn by, their own Holy Spirit that they will only talk ill about you and will only find faults in you. Do you know any such person? Say I do in the comments, please. Like there's this one person or maybe a few such characters in your proximity who will just, their only job is to pull you down. That's what they do. In the name of love, in the name of friendship, in the name of this is good for you, in the name of I love giving feedback, or in the name of I'm honest. Have you met these people? You know what? I speak what I believe and I am very honest about my views. I don't know, people don't like it because they can't digest my honesty. I should have another session on what honesty means and how you express things honestly, because honesty is definitely not about spitting on people's face, right? It's not like you will just go and say some crap in words which are unfiltered and disrespectful, and you can just say it on somebody's face and say and feel very proud about the fact that I'm a very honest person, I just say as it is. I think there is a huge gap in understanding what honesty truly means, and maybe there is merit in picking up like doing a session on just honesty. How many of you feel that? Just give me honesty in the comments if you feel that that's going to be a very important topic to explore and learn a little more about. And if a lot of you want it, then you know that I will not hold myself back. And maybe we will come up with an episode just on honesty, because I think it needs some bit of discussion. But coming back to the vibe check, you know what? There are two things to remember. Number one, you can't change people. We have to accept that. And the faster we do, the better it is. It saves a lot of time, right? We can't change people. They are the way they are. Why they are like that, we don't know. We don't know. Like what they've gone through, we don't know. But what we do know is that we have a choice to decide whether we want to be around these people or not. We have a choice to create a protection layer, even though it is invisible, It is bulletproof. That's called a spiritual strength, by the way. And that's why I believe that spirituality is the core of leadership, because you have to develop that strength, that protection layer around you, which can keep your peace intact. And nobody can come and just pierce through this, right? Not possible. This is bulletproof. So let these negative people float around outside this space that you have created for yourself, the safe space, which gets stronger and stronger as you indulge in deeper spiritual practices, including maybe these kind of sessions, which compel us to think, to go deeper, to go within. And that's also part of the spiritual practice. And so I chose to call it a satsang, right? So when you are checking the kind of people you should surround yourself with, check the vibe that you're getting from them. And if you think there is too much negativity, too much toxicity here, don't waste too much time trying to change that, right? Find your own space and create your own distance and bless them from a distance. You don't need to take the responsibility to change them into who you want them to be, because they are not interested. So they're not going to support you. And if they don't support you, you can't do much because it's outside your circle of influence, right? So go with the vibe check. Stay with people who add more power to you, who make you feel more empowered, who make you feel more encouraged, more energetic, more enthusiastic. They don't sap your energy, they add to your energy. These are the kind of people that you should work with, you should spend your time with, you should have meals with, you should get to know better. And let me remind you once again, people are the most important resource that we have to add value to our own life, and then through that add value to the world around us. After all the issues and problems that we have boil down to interpersonal skills, which means nothing but understanding and having the ability to understand other people better. So it only makes sense that if we have to choose people to surround ourselves with, we run the three important checks and then select these people, these handful who are going to enhance our life and the experience of this life. I hope this was useful, and I hope you bring these checks to practice to be able to create that pool of people you would want to call as your right people. With that, we conclude today's session. Please put in the comments, what have you taken away? What's some food for thought? Some of your own ideas and views on this discussion, would love to know, and comment on it later on. Till then, take very, very good care of yourself. I will be back next week with another important insight in the space of leadership and spirituality. Thank you.